Hello and welcome to the Crypto Jungle. My name is Baloo, and here on the channel I keep crypto simple. We look at the price in the context of volume using the Wyckoff method. If that is something that interests you, then why don't you hit the subscribe button. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So new content 3 times a week, and we cover all things crypto and TA related. So in today's video, I want to cover some of the altcoins. We're heading into the weekend. Weekend is typically a lower volume time in these 24-hour markets. When you have lower volume, you can also have increased volatility. As there's less trading activity, as there's less order books in the ecosystem, it's just easier to move the price on specifically Bitcoin. So, and what's correlated with Bitcoin is the rest of the market. So if Bitcoin can be easily swayed, the rest of the market can be easily swayed as well. So we're going to take a look at Bitcoin heading into the weekend. We're going to take a look at some of the top altcoins and see what kind of shape we're in as we're heading into the weekend here. What's up, Free Diz? How's it going? All right, so without any further ado, let's jump into the king of all crypto here. And that is Bitcoin. So taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, nothing really to report here. I mean, we're still inside of the consolidation. We're still range bound in this general area right here. If you go down to the smaller time frames, you can see that we had an ascending line of support. This was kind of pointed out by somebody in my group yesterday. Not something that I pay a ton of attention to, but we may as well discuss it. You know, you had these several lower, higher low touch points. We broke through that, and now we're coming in for a bearish test. So do we need to come back down to the bottom of the range for a test somewhere down in this area? Anything is in the cards right now. When you're range bound, you know, drifting to the top of the range is just as likely as drifting to the bottom of the range. So if I was to pick a side here, obviously the trend in this market is down. We would need a test of the lower end of the range, and hopefully maybe we don't break it, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we did break the lower end of the range as well on Bitcoin. If we quickly jump over to Bitcoin dominance, higher low tentatively printed right here, which is still just maintaining that trajectory to the upside. The rallies are weakening on this one. So for those who don't know how Bitcoin dominance works, it's just a representation of where the money flow in the crypto market is. Is it going into Bitcoin? Is it going into altcoins? So if we see weakness in this chart and bullishness in the altcoins, we can see that liquidity is actually leaving Bitcoin in comparison and heading into altcoins. So weakness in this chart is not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're an altcoin trader, an altcoin investor. So if we start breaking down here and curling over, that could signify that could signal a rally inside of the altcoins. And we're seeing some strength and some recovery inside of some of these altcoins, most notably AXS. This is getting a little silly. So AXS, we did call this coin out in my group down at around $6. So you are more than happy with that position if you did take the breakout. We are up about nearly 200%, 175% on that call out. And it's just not stopping. We're actually wanting a little bit of a break. We're wanting to, you know, I'm at least wanting this one to cool down a little bit so that I can stack a little bit more. But I'm kind of, you know, I'm a breeder in the Axie Infinity ecosystem. This coin is required for me to breed. So we're going to have to watch and see what this does to the market. We're also going to need to pay attention to see if the team from Axie Infinity does step in and make adjustments to the breeding fees of the Axies, because as it stands right now at around $18, we're looking at nearly $40 just in AXS. No, we're looking at $80. Yeah, we're looking at about $80 in nearly $80 in the cost of AXS alone just to breed. That's not including the SLP that's required. It's, you know, not looking like a sustainable move in my opinion. If you are going to be trading this, please know how to use a stop loss. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the larger cryptocurrencies that are kind of more a merit of health. Ethereum struggling to get above my target of 2,250. So this was just the area of the last large down bar where we got a test of the lower end of the range. We attempted to rally above it, we got rejected, we attempted again, we got rejected again. So we're really struggling to overtake this level of 2,250. I'm going to remain bearish on this one until we can get above that level. So, you know, it's just more of the same. A little bit of consolidation with a bearish hue, a bearish view overall, a bearish influence overall. Another one that's doing okay or potentially getting ready to break out. I don't do too many triangles, but when they're staring at me right in the face, I will make a note of them. A triangle, you know, if you want to keep it really simple, sometimes they line up very nice, sometimes they are not that nice, but effectively what it is it's a sequence of lower highs and a sequence of higher lows. Not always, you know, but what I'm referring to is a squeeze. So a squeeze is just a tightening of both the bulls and the bears. They need to come up with a decision. Which way are we going? Are we going up or are we going down? So in a bullish context, in an uptrend on this chart, you know, we are coming from the downside. We're in an uptrend on this one. The bias would be that this squeeze would resolve to the upside. So if this does indeed resolve to the upside, I wouldn't be surprised to see us break out of here. This is on the Bitcoin chart. You know, you want to have a healthy reference of the Bitcoin chart because you don't want to spend time in an altcoin if it's not outperforming Bitcoin. We all know that altcoins perform better than Bitcoin. But the only caveat to that is it's when they are performing better than Bitcoin. When they are not performing better than Bitcoin, they do much, much worse than Bitcoin. So you really should start out on the Bitcoin pair just to see overall, is this coin actually performing better, or is it just market perception because the daily percentage gains on the green days that everybody seems to pay attention to are bullish green days, you know, hey, 20%, yeah, 20% that day, but you went, you know, 30% down the other day. So do pay attention to these Bitcoin charts because they're going to help gain a lot of clarity as to the real outcome here as to whether this is a better investment than Bitcoin or not. But if we go over to BNB USD, we can talk a little bit about targets. Sold my AXE starting at 13. I don't think that's a bad thing, you know. I don't know what your goal was going into the trade, but you know, we gave you the call out at a pretty good time. Drag that open here. So, you know, it's a lot less exciting here on the US dollar pair. A lot less of a squeeze going on. So maybe what we get is kind of a move to the top of the channel where we can, you know, discover how strong the resistance is up in this level. So we're looking for a break above 425. Get a clean break above 425, test that level, and I think that you could be, you know, on your way to break out some of these all-time highs right at around 676. It's crazy to see BNB up at these levels. You know, I remember when it was, you know, 15 cents for this thing. It's pretty crazy to see it up here. But yeah, let's move on and take a look at some of these other coins. Cardano BTC. Cardano still under the line of control that I'm kind of paying attention to. So this area of resistance right here, right at around 4,100 sats. We're still struggling to get above that. That's kind of correlated with the all-time high. You know, when you're on the US dollar pair, we're near the all-time high. The Bitcoin pair, we're struggling to get above 4,000 sats. It's, you know, it's trying. It's trying, but there's not a lot of follow through with Cardano, and that's just because they are the king of delays. Everything they do is a delay. So it's not the best market to be exposed to a ton of altcoins right now. If you don't have a healthy Bitcoin position, you are kind of you know, you are kind of at the mercy of market sentiment. But you know, if you have to make your own decisions. Only looking to double, got in under $6, did better than the plan. Happy, finally wasn't greedy and sold. Well done, Diz, well done. Already talked about Bitcoin, yeah, but you know what I would like to do, which I forgot to do, was actually reference the point and figure chart on Bitcoin. So let's go back to Bitcoin for a sec. I just wanted to take a look at the point and figure chart on the daily. A lot of people don't read the point and figure chart. I think that it's a fantastic way to really strip out the noise. For those who don't know, point and figure charts, they take out time. It's purely volatility. So what that means is these bars, each one of these bars is not a measure of time, it's a measure of volatility of the asset. You only draw an O when it drops, in this case, $500, and you only draw an X when it goes up $500 as well. It's purely based on volatility. It could not do anything. You could have nothing print for months on these charts. So it's a very different style of analysis, but what's nice about it is it really allows you to look at the volume, and you can see the volume is very different on these charts, and it shows you these areas of interest. So most notably right here we have these two bars of relatively equal volume. So this bar hasn't quite closed yet, so it might not be a fair analysis, but we have two volume bars, meaning that the same amount of effort has been applied to the price in this area. And when we look at this bar, you know, we have a large green bar. And then when we look at this bar, we have a smaller red bar. So what that's telling me is, yes, supply is coming in. We're seeing supply emerge here. But this has been a little bit of a transition. We've seen, like, the bars back here, they were all supply. Tons of supply entering the market, just a lot of supply coming in during this consolidation. And that supply is beginning to drift down a little bit. We're seeing less of it kind of dominate the consolidation, and we're starting to see that transition of demand starting to come in. Only on the point and figure chart. It hasn't really shown up on the candlestick chart, but on the point and figure chart, you're having that ability to slowly change your bias, or at least you're seeing the forces of supply and demand begin to change. And that's exactly what we want. If we are to remain bullish in this market, if we are to remain bullish on Bitcoin, we need to see that the demand starts to take back over. So a little hint at demand, not a bad thing. I'm liking what I'm seeing on the point and figure chart here. So back on Cardano, nothing really to report. I need us to have a solid breakout above 4,000 sats. Furthermore, I would love to see us get a breakout above 5,000 sats. If we can do those two things, I think it'll be off to the races with Cardano. I'm not a fan of Cardano, really don't give a fuck about Cardano at all, but a lot of people do, so I'm reporting on it. Another coin that is kind of divisive as well is XRP. XRP is still working on its backup. This is one of the hardest coins to hold on to. From a trader's perspective, I know that the XRP army doesn't have a problem whatsoever trying to hold this coin, because they will hold it in any circumstances, because they're preparing for the Great Reset. But for me, it's a pretty difficult coin to hold on to. We really need to prove support. We really need to have the turnaround here. So until that happens, I'm really not jumping in on this one. We're on the weekly time frame right here. This is the area of interest for me. So let's go down to something like the 3-day chart. It's moving really slow. We don't need to be in the small time frames on this one. Starting to flatten out, but we thought we were flattening out back here, so we're gonna have to see. We really need to hold this level. You can see this area of the breakout right here. This is a very important level. If we fail to hold this level, we're gonna be waiting a long time. You're gonna be waiting a long time for a repair, because this level was significant enough for quite a substantial breakout. It needs to hold. If it doesn't hold, it's as though this thing never even happened. It's as though the breakout never even happened. Coffee time. It's morning here in Indonesia. Okay, so that is pretty much all of the coins that I wanted to cover today. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Any thoughts on Telcoin? Yeah, I don't know what the hell is up with Telcoin. Fundamentally speaking, at least, it's not a project that's really caught my attention. I've seen, if it has anything to do with cell phones, then I'm not interested from a fundamental standpoint. But, and it's only available on KuCoin. That's probably another reason why I don't pay attention to it, because I do not trade on KuCoin. I trade on FTX. Telcoin, very significant downtrend. Okay, when you see such a strong downtrend that's actually quite predictable in its trajectory, just draw that line. That's all you need. You don't need to Wyckoff this. You don't need to do any of that nonsense. You just draw a line. Okay, draw a line, set an alarm on the line. Anytime it breaks above, you need to see it hold above. If it doesn't hold above, it's not going to hold above. It's going to head back down. Okay, so until it breaks this structure, there's nothing to pay attention to. This is the exact same setup, by the way, that we saw on Axie Infinity. If we go back over to Axie, I had that relentless downtrend back here, right? And I didn't care, didn't pay attention whatsoever. It wasn't until we crossed that line and held it that you would begin to pay attention. So same thing on Telcoin, really nothing to, there's no trade here. There's no trade here. I mean, if anything, there's shorts. If you wanted to short it, you could short it. Anytime it gets up against this line, short it, because its trajectory is to the downside. Okay, a spring is a spring though. This would be the weakest spring in history speed-wise. Yeah, I don't think that Bitcoin, you know, a spring is not a spring. I would have to disagree with that. You know, a spring is a powerful move that has powerful moves come after it. It's a transition point. It's a change in behavior inside of the consolidation that allows you to leave the consolidation. What we saw in Bitcoin, what I have labeled potential spring, you know what? Forget potential spring. It's done. There is no potential spring. As far as I'm concerned, it was a test. And that's it. There's no potential spring here. So it's too weak for me to really care about. It's not a spring. There's no change of character. There's no change of behavior. It's not leaving the consolidation. It was a test. Look at .ETH ratio. Okay. DOT is another overhyped and underperforming asset. .ETH. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not, it's just not exciting to me. DOT is not exciting to me. I'm not seeing the volume that I want to see in, like, traders don't care about DOT right now. And I fundamentally don't accumulate DOT. So for me, DOT is just in a downtrend. You know, we had a distribution, we got a little redistribution. Are we going to go for another redistribution? I don't know. The trend is down, so we need to assume that yes, we will head to lower levels. DOT. What does DOT do? I mean, it feels like Kusama is doing all the stuff that DOT is supposed to be doing. It feels as like Kusama is the real DOT. And this is from somebody that doesn't know either ecosystem. So for me, it would be purely a technical setup that I would be looking for on this one, because I'm not fundamentally abreast of the situation on this one. And technically speaking, there's nothing here for me. It's a downtrend, and we'll see. It looks weak as fuck. Really, really, really weak. Not a fan. I'm not going to tell you what I really think about ADA. I've done that too many times. And it's not good for ratings. All right, let's take a look at Litecoin. Litecoin's another one that you really need to start out on the Bitcoin pair. If it's not outperforming Bitcoin, don't waste your fucking time messing around with Litecoin. Litecoin is, you know, it's a test network. It's a test network for Bitcoin. And what has Charlie Lee done lately? Nothing. You know? Okay, so like, yeah, it's lower highs, lower lows. What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to do with Litecoin? Are you trying to invest in Litecoin? Because you can see quite clearly that it's a very bad investment. the better investment would be Bitcoin. Are you trying to trade Litecoin? If you're trying to trade Litecoin, well, maybe we have something locally here where you could use this as a tool to get more Bitcoin. But, you know, it's not a tool that outperforms Bitcoin. This is not a coin that outperforms Bitcoin. So it's better to be used. Use this coin as a Satoshi stacker. That's it. So, you know, potentially we're at a higher low. If it confirms as a higher low and breaks out the higher high, maybe we could start to trade alongside the trend. But as it stands right now, it's structurally poor. It's structurally, you know, not doing better than Bitcoin. I don't care about this coin. And if you are looking at it purely from an investment standpoint, if you are wondering what coin to invest in and you're thinking about Litecoin, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you quite clearly, based on the chart, that don't buy Litecoin, buy Bitcoin, because it performs better. This is all you need to look at. This is, you know, Litecoin compared to Bitcoin. Litecoin loses value over Bitcoin over time. That's it. What do I think about Avalanche's chart? Fundamentally, I don't think anyone uses it, but I've had it since $4 and forgot. Yeah, I mean, if you had it since $4, I mean, you know, I don't know, man. Avalanche is really just kind of a useless project, in my opinion. Nobody's using it. There's no adoption on that blockchain whatsoever. It was kind of a flavor of the month once upon a time. And that once upon a time was a very different time. You know, we're not in that kind of frenzy environment anymore where you can make the, you know, you can talk about, you know, the alternatives and competitors. When the market has a shakeout, everybody goes back to what's safe and what makes sense. And most commonly, that's Bitcoin. And I'm not making comparisons between Bitcoin and Avalanche because they're clearly very, very different. But what I'm saying is people retreat to the projects that have higher market cap and more adoption. So when Avalanche really took off, it was kind of the beginning of the frenzy of the altcoin season, where we saw a lot of projects that had potential increase in their price because of the potential. I'm not saying that won't happen again with Avalanche. I'm just saying it's not happening anytime soon. You know, this is very poor structurally. It looks as though we're getting ready for another LPSY up in this area. So I'd be watching around the $15 mark. If it heads to about 15 bucks and is unable to get above that level, I wouldn't be surprised to see us head back down, you know, to even lower levels. I mean, the downside sky's the limit. I'd be looking right back to your entry at around 4 bucks. It's one of the shittier charts out there. You know, it got overextended and it immediately went into distribution, and it's been in distribution ever since. So, not a fan. Not a fan. Some people just, you know, they get fundamental about things. You know, that I forget who coined that term, but fundamental, you know, fundamental. You get fundamental about these projects, but you forget people need to use them. They have to use them. And if they're not using them, they're worth as the amount of adoption. They're worth nothing. Okay, so if you got in at 4 bucks, I mean, you're sitting pretty right now, man. I'd be watching this kind of general area. If we start to fold over, if you break below this low, I don't know. I can't tell you what to do with your investments, but I would be watching this level at around 10 bucks. If it starts to fail below 10 bucks, you have to make your own decisions on how you want to handle that. Are you a believer? Are you in it for the long run? Do you see adoption? You know, you have to make up your own mind. Short Litecoin to accumulate more BTC. Audio BTC. Yes, Charlie, we did talk about how it had that break of the support level, coming back for a bit of a retest, bearish test on the underside. Audio, I don't know, man. Gotta stop trading on Binance too. It's odious. You can tell where you're trading on that one just by how you call it. What do you call it? This one looks very similar. You know, it got way overextended right at around the same time. You know, a lot of alts became very overvalued during that time. And if they didn't have the fundamental wherewithal to continue, then, you know, we're in the exact same spot with Audius. So I'm going to give you the exact same call out on Audius. You know, if you break below 65 cents, you can call it an even 50. Expect lower levels with Audius on that one. There's no signs of recovery just yet. We have not made even a higher high, not one higher high. Everything is lower lows and lower highs. Until that trend changes, it's the trend and it's down. So short it. Biggest stack is BTC, ETH, Link, Aave, and Monero. Just using low altcoins to accumulate more. Yeah, don't mistake low market cap for value though. H-bar BTC pair. Ay. This is not going well today, guys. We're not picking the winners today. Yeah, I think we already touched on H-bar. Same sort of thing. We're in a downtrend. Don't even pay attention to it until it breaks this downtrend. That's on the dollar. Let's see it on Bitcoin. It's just confused on Bitcoin. Yeah, we're just range bound on the Bitcoin pair. So, you know, that just tells me that, you know, you can use it as a Bitcoin multiplier. So, you know, H-bar is not a good investment. It's not a good long-term hodl. It's not a coin that you should be fundamentally, you know, convinced on, but you can use H-bar to get yourself more Bitcoin. Anytime H-bar is at the bottom, you can buy H-bar and then you can sell it when it gets to the top, because that's the only trend we have here. Is it doesn't do better than Bitcoin. It's just volatile against Bitcoin during certain points in time. So if it goes to the bottom, then you can buy it and you can use it to get you more Bitcoin. But over the long run, it's kind of useless. Like it's not an investment, really. Not yet anyways. It's not showing you it's an investment. Any idea on Matic? Matic is really fundamentally strong. We're in a bit of a squeeze. The squeeze does need to resolve one way or the other, and we're just waiting for that resolve. So really nothing to report on Matic just yet. That's not my Matic chart. Where's my Matic chart? Must be on FTX. Yeah. Yeah, so we just need to get above this area right here. We're at the bottom of the range. If you were bold and adventurous, then maybe you could take a position here, but it's, you know, you would want to make sure you're using some sort of stop loss or some sort of way to mitigate risk. But as soon as we get above this area of $1.30, then we could, you know, we're trending in the right direction. We have this pretty clear area of resistance. If we can clear the resistance, there shouldn't be a lot holding us back. Fundamentally, really strong on Matic. Technicals are working against us though. Theta BTC. Another one that got a ton of hype. I haven't actually looked at the Theta token in a Theta chart in a while. Looks like distribution. Looks like classic distribution. But yeah, we've come up. Come across, we got a few up thrusts, we got a few signs of weakness. We have a LPSY right here. It's looking ugly against Bitcoin. Let's see how it looks on the dollar. A little bit more tradable in terms of a signal. Same thing. Downward sloping line of resistance. Just leave it there and wait. When it clears the resistance, now you've got something to pay attention to. Right now, there's really not a lot to pay attention to, so don't waste too much time with this chart. Just draw your line, add your alarm, walk away. You don't need to be staring at all these charts all day long. You know, have a life. You know, there's no action here. There's no actionable event that is ready to occur just yet. So just tell TradingView to let you know when you should pay attention. If you're only looking at like 5 or 6 coins, a lot of them are just not ready yet. So as far as weekend volatility, I think the market overall is rather stable. So the weekend's probably going to be just more of the same. Could be wrong, but you know, hey, that's trading. But yeah, as far as this chart, there's nothing actionable here. So let the TradingView algorithm teach you what to do. Tell you what to do. What's a good one to invest in at the moment? You missed it. You missed it. It was AXS. AXS was the best one to invest in right now. If you're talking about a long-term investment, I would say Ethereum is the one that I like the best right now. Ethereum is, let's actually go to Ethereum BTC. The market is shaky overall. You know, there's no clear direction right now. We don't have a clear direction, period. And by the way, I'm not a fucking financial advisor. I'm just some dude on the internet who lives in the fucking jungle and barely has internet to support a live stream. So don't take what I say as financial advice. But typically speaking, you know, if the bull market is to continue, and I have to say everything with a little bit of a contingency, if the bull market is to continue, then we can expect higher valuations of a lot of these coins. And if the bull market is to continue, we're going to be in a certain spot of the market where, traditionally speaking, it's where Ethereum begins to outperform BTC. And we're seeing that in the chart. You can see how Ethereum is beginning to outperform the returns of Bitcoin on this ETH BTC chart. So if this continues, Ethereum is going to be the best investment that I, you know, could in good conscience recommend. Everything else, it's kind of shaky. It's kind of uncertain. We don't really know, but you know, Ethereum is the most widely used, actually used cryptocurrency, I would argue, right now. Bitcoin has the highest user base, but most of its use is towards trading, whereas Ethereum is actually used for many things. So I think fundamentally speaking, it's the better investment. I think technically speaking, it's the better investment. So, you know, there you go. You got investment advice out of a YouTuber. Went in at 8.20 on AXS. Nice. Took a bit off the table at 11. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. I was ready to short. I had a short in place at 16 bucks on Avalanche, and then it went down and it started to go up. So I'm like, well, if it's got strength left in it, I'm not going to stand in its way. So I took my short down. Thank you, BQHR. All right, guys, that's all the time I have for today. If you guys want a a better environment to learn how to do technical analysis, learn how to trade, learn how to invest. We have a fantastic community. The links are down below. If you would like 50% off your first month in the crypto jungle, use coupon code WELCOME on the monthly package and you will receive 50% off. It's 25 bucks. Come try us out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. We've got a huge panel of really rockstar analysts that are really ready to help guide you in the right direction, so that when the time comes, because understanding where you are in the market cycle is very, very important. When the time comes, you'll be ready, you'll be positioned, you'll know what to do. This is the perfect time to kind of hunker down and learn the technical skills and the hows and the whys, because when the market starts to take off, you're going to be making uninformed decisions. And that's not what you want to do. You want to make sure that you have a plan. You want to make sure that you know exactly the direction you want to go, how you want to handle the trade, and what your ultimate goal is. And a lot of people don't even know what their ultimate goal in cryptocurrency is. So we can help you realize those goals. So if that's something that interests you, links down below. That's all the time I have for today. If you guys enjoyed this content, please leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And if there are any projects that you would like me to take a look at, leave them in the comment section down below. And until next time, please trade safe. There's a jungle out there. Peace.